Hoy necesitamos cambiar el mundo, en la adversidad como en la alegría, en el triunfo como en la derrota, en el día y en la noche. Todos somos parte cuando naces y cuando mueres, cerca o lejos, hoy y mañana. Todos somos parte. Queremos que seas parte de un reto, que se enfrenten a los obstáculos, que desafíen el momento, que cambien el mundo, que comuniquen, que eduquen, que formen, que informen y transformen, que recorran, que vuelen, que muevan y que suenen, que fotografíen, que miren, que planifiquen y caminen, que creen, que cuenten, que animen y que sueñen. Porque desde mañana ya nada será igual. Necesitamos que diseñen el cambio. Necesitamos hombres y mujeres que imaginen un mundo del que todos y todas somos parte. Universidad Indoamérica.
Mi querida Lore, muy buenas noches. Eh, Tiene su micrófono apagado, por favor, prendamos el micrófono. Los pequeños detalles del en vivo.
Gracias. Pensé que el Santi me había ya autorizado ya el ingreso, pero muchísimas gracias, doctor. Muy buenas noches a todos a quienes ya se están integrando a nuestra señal vía Facebook y vía YouTube. Sean todos ustedes bienvenidos a este evento organizado por la Universidad Indoamérica y la Dirección de Idiomas. Esta noche estaremos con el evento Emotional Intelligence in EFL. Pero esta noche no estoy sola y antes de dar la bienvenida a nuestro director de idiomas, quisiera yo comentarles a todos ustedes que puedan compartir esta transmisión tanto en Facebook como en YouTube para que más personas puedan interactuar con nosotros en este evento. Adicional a ello, también si ustedes durante la conferencia que vamos a tener tienen dudas y desean realizar consultas, también pueden dejarnos sus comentarios, saludos, que estaremos prestos para poder responderlas. Sin más, quiero dar la bienvenida esta noche al doctor Diego López, director del Departamento de Idiomas de la Universidad Indoamérica. Bienvenido, doctor.
Buenas noches, mi estimada Lorena. Qué gusto poder compartir una vez más un espacio para la academia. Y esta vez hemos traído a una persona que es muy conocida dentro del mundo de la enseñanza de inglés como idioma extranjero. Quiero brevemente comentarles que Juan Carlos Hidalgo estará esta noche compartiendo con nosotros un webinar muy importante y que es bastante actual, ¿no? En este tiempo que hemos vivido una realidad diferente por la pandemia, hemos aprendido a convivir con la tecnología, pero también hemos aprendido a convivir con las emociones. Y de eso nos va a hablar Juan Carlos. Déjenme darles la más cordial bienvenida a nombre de nuestras máximas autoridades, el doctor Franklin Tapia, rector de la Universidad Indoamérica, y nuestro señor canciller, el ingeniero Saúl Lara Paredes. Sean todos bienvenidos. Please don't forget to keep online with us. Welcome everybody. I'm sure you will enjoy this webinar, and immediately I'm going to present and leave with you Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos, welcome to this night where you will have the opportunity to share your knowledge with all the people that are connected online in our social networks.
Muchísimas gracias, mi querido doctor. Y bueno, es importante decirles a todas las personas que ya se están integrando vía Facebook y vía YouTube que este evento, a partir de que yo haga la presentación de nuestro invitado completamente en inglés, todo el evento va a ser específicamente en este idioma. Nadie va a hablar español y eso es lo bonito de esta conferencia. Quisiera, por favor, que me den un momentito nada más para yo dar la bienvenida a nuestro invitado y leer, pues, su currículum vital o biodata. Juan Carlos Hidalgo, a well-known teacher and teacher training for his board experience with working at Cambridge University Press as an ELT specialist and key account manager. Juan Carlos has a master's degree in neurolinguistic programming and another one in education psychology. Over the last 10 years, Juan Carlos has been training school and university teacher of different topics such as planning and evaluation, communicated language teaching, ESIPPP, ERCA, engaging and motivating students, among others. He has also edited some storybooks for authors from the Ecuadorian Ministry of Education. Today, his main area of research is focused on blended learning and using technology in ELT. Espero que mi inglés no esté tan malo, mi querido Juan Carlos, buenas noches y bienvenido a este evento. Es todo suyo y pues a las personas nuevamente que se están integrando a nuestras redes sociales, por favor recuerden que pueden interactuar con nosotros en los comentarios en directo, ya que nuestro conferencista estará respondiendo sus consultas y luego pues yo estaré leyendo también las preguntas en vivo para que él las pueda responder, ¿de acuerdo? Listo, mi querido Juan Carlos, bienvenido.
Muchísimas gracias. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining this session and taking the time to share some experience with us so we can all, grow together. My name is Juan Carlos from Cambridge University Press. Thank you again for joining. I've been invited to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence in the classroom. So I would like to share with you a few ideas today. Okay, so to start, I would like to show you a little bit of a little trivia that I prepared for today. I have a few questions and the answers on the right, so you can answer in the chat if you want. That'd be great. And let's start. Yeah, this is a very short one, just a little warm up to nice break. To get to know each other online a little. So, who introduced the theory of multiple intelligences? Okay, you have the answers on the right. So, if you want, you can answer. Excellent. I'm seeing some of your comments. Thank you very much. Yes, Howard Gardner. He introduced the theory of multiple intelligence. Yes, very good. Who developed the theory of emotional intelligence? There's something there. Someone developed the theory and someone made it popular. Yeah, there's a difference there. So who developed the theory of emotional intelligence? Yeah, Mayer and Salovey. Yes, they did it. Okay. Now, who made emotional intelligence popular? Do you know that one? The only name left on the right. That's, Daniel Goleman. Yes, he made it popular. This journalist and psychologist, he made it popular. What's the name of the ninth intelligence? We have 8 intelligence, but we have a few more have been introduced over the last few years. So the ninth intelligence is the existential one. Yes, very good. And what's the intelligence that helps you read people? What's that intelligence? Yes, that is the interpersonal one. So good warm-up, I'd say. All right, so let's continue. If we talk about multiple intelligences, yeah, we know them. We have the intrapersonal one, the naturalist one, spatial, musical, logical, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, and linguistic. Yeah, we all know that, right? Here's another diagram if you want. And there's two things that I want to say here, okay, about the multiple intelligences. One, can you spot the typo? There's a typo here in this one, okay? I put it there on purpose. Where's that typo? Can you put it in the chat? Yeah, it's this one right here, athlete. That's the typo, okay? Good. And the other thing that I want to say is that today we're going to be focusing on these two intelligences. One is the intrapersonal one, and the other one is the interpersonal one. Those are the two we're going to be talking about today. I have a few presents for today that I'll be giving away. I would say a couple of giveaways for you today that I'll share with you later, yeah? But if we focus on the intrapersonal intelligence and the interpersonal intelligence, let's talk a little bit about them, okay? The intrapersonal one is the ability, okay, to understand myself, to get to know myself better, to understand my inner feelings and emotions. But not only that, it's also to control them. Knowing them is not enough. In order to close the circle, I need to be able to control them. That's the intrapersonal intelligence, right? And then there's the interpersonal intelligence, which is about understanding other people's behavior, to read people, if you want to call it, okay? And that will help you communicate better. That will help you probably establish rapport, okay? So things will go smoothly, okay? If we talk about intrapersonal intelligence and interpersonal intelligence, we are definitely talking about emotional intelligence. If I had to give you my own definition of emotional intelligence based on this one, of course, I would say that emotional intelligence is the correct perception, if you want, the correct perception of emotions, my own emotions and other people's emotions. And that will help me understand them, generate more emotions if necessary. Okay? That is my own definition. Sorry about that. I think that the curriculum at school has been doing something wrong. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. If we think about, back in the day, if we talk about what we learned at school, yeah, we of course learned mathematics. God, I remember that. I was terrible. I was probably the worst student in the classroom. I was terrible at mathematics. Yeah. We also learned geography, science, if you want, literature, chemistry, and many other subjects. And we can have fantastic grades if you want. Yeah. That's what we learned at school. That's what we still teach at school. Okay. But then is what we should have learned, or what we should now teach to our kids, to our teenagers. Okay. And that's probably time management. How important is it to set time for everything, even for leisure time? It's very important to sleep, to work, to spend time with family, to enjoy activities. Time management is really, really important. Okay, I used to be the kind of person that used to think, yeah, work while others sleep, and then you'll be able to enjoy things that they can't enjoy. After I studied psychology, I've changed my mind totally. Yeah, it's work while others sleep, and you will probably not have health at all to do anything. Yeah, because it's also important. So time management is really important. We should we should teach. We should have learned at school healthy habits. Yeah, which include healthy eating, which include sports, sleeping, like I said, for example. We should have learned and we should teach saving habits to our kids. Yeah, banks are really thankful that we didn't learn that at school because we're always owing money, right? Goal setting. The only goal back in the day was to pass the year. When we would remember pasar el año, okay, no matter what, and that no matter what included, have someone do homework for you, take extra classes if necessary, but get good grades. That was the only goal back in the day. Okay, now we need to teach our kids the importance of goal setting, but real goals, yeah, short-term, long-term goals, right? We can talk about financial intelligence, not only saving, but what to do with the money. Yeah, how to set aside some money for this and for that, and what to do with our money. Okay, definitely we should have learned that. But there are more things that we need that we should have learned, and that's self-control, for example, which includes balance, which includes calmness, okay, determination, confidence, and willpower. That's what we should have practiced. That's what we should practice now with our kids. Okay, empathy. Can you imagine if we practiced empathy, which we're going to see later, of course, if we practiced empathy at school, if we helped everyone develop empathy, we wouldn't have probably that many bullies at school, right? Social skills, how to work, as a team, how to establish rapport, how to influence other people. Very important. Self-awareness, to know myself well. Okay, to ask myself, how am I doing? To evaluate myself, which is very important. Okay, and definitely motivation. Okay, motivation, because not always do we have somebody to motivate us, so we have to learn, self-motivation, that intrinsic motivation that makes me do things. And if we talk about all of this, of course, if I have to summarize it in one word, in one single word or a couple of words, I would say we need to teach emotional intelligence in the classroom. We really need to include that in the curriculum. I'll share a few ideas with you today. That's why you see me running a little bit in the theory, because I want to have enough time to show you a couple of good ideas that you can use with your students in the class or online. No problem. But we need to include emotional intelligence in the classroom. Do you need psychologists, experts to implement a CEL program in the school? We'll talk about a CEL program later. But do you need them? No, you don't. Any teacher can teach emotional intelligence, or maybe not teach emotional intelligence, but help the kids develop emotional intelligence. Okay, so we will see a few ideas today, but in order to see some ideas, we need to know about the elements of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, according to Daniel Goleman, has 5 different elements. Some of them are related to the intrapersonal intelligence. Some of them are closely related to the interpersonal one. Okay, so if you want to see them, we have social skills, self-regulation, self-awareness, motivation, and empathy. Yeah, but if you want to see them in a different way, okay, when we talk about emotional self-awareness, we will see them one by one in a minute. But if we talk about emotional self-awareness, if we talk about emotional self-regulation, if we talk about emotional self-motivation, Those are related to me, to my intrapersonal intelligence, you see, which is part of emotional intelligence. Okay? So if we talk then about empathy, about relationships, social skills, that has to do with others. So that is social skills. That is interpersonal intelligence. You see? So to summarize a bit, 5 elements of emotional intelligence. Okay? 3 of them are related to intrapersonal intelligence, and the other 2 are related to the interpersonal one, as you can see it in this diagram here. Okay? Important. So let's see them little by little. Self-awareness, one of the elements that have to do with me, with the intrapersonal intelligence. That's to assess and recognize my own moods, my own emotions. Okay? We think that we know ourselves. We don't really. We don't really know ourselves very well. Okay? You probably have heard people saying, es que yo me conozco. Okay. How well do you know yourself? If you know your emotions, you also need to know what triggers those emotions. If you want to call them positive emotions and negative emotions, that's fine. But what triggers them? Because when you know your emotions and the triggers of those emotions, you can understand them. Therefore, you can control them. Right? And of course, avoid situations that produce certain emotions. Right? So one of the elements of self-awareness is also being aware of your strengths and weaknesses, because you know yourself well. Okay? That's important. So self-awareness is closely related to self-confidence, to self-assessment, to self-esteem, because I'm always evaluating myself, right? That's self-awareness. Remember, self-awareness is part of the intrapersonal intelligence, which is at the same time part of emotional intelligence. Then we have self-management, self-regulation, if you want. How important is it to control yourself? Do you think it's important to control your anger? No. It's also important to control your excitement. Yeah. Think before you act. Yeah. The Asians say never make decisions when you are too angry, too sad, or too happy. That is self-management. It's not only think before you act when you're angry. It's not only that. It's think before you act when you're too happy. You might end up promising something you won't do later. You might end up offering something you don't really want to offer. And when we make decisions based on an emotion that is temporary, we tend to make permanent decisions. And later, we regret them, of course. So, for regulating ourselves, we need to use maybe, self-calming techniques. Yeah, mindfulness, for example, which is, in right now. Okay, it has to do with integrity. It has to do with openness to change and with trustworthiness. Why trustworthiness? Because I will never tell you a secret if I know that you cannot control yourself and that you get too angry and you will just spill the beans. Right? So that's how it is related to the elements we're seeing today. Then internal motivation, again, also related to the intrinsic motivation, is also related to the intrapersonal intelligence. And teachers, I would say teachers worldwide are experts at this, because we work for the passion to work, because we love it. Yeah, our passion goes beyond money, beyond rewards. Yeah, we do it because we love our kids. Right now, the reality that we're going through has taught us that teachers should earn a lot more than football players, probably. That's one of the positive aspects of this pandemic. And how do we do that? How do we do internal motivation? Just by little details, enjoying little details, celebrating success. I'm a friend of hundreds of teachers from a few countries on Facebook. And I have seen over this pandemic, I have seen teachers posting their B2 certificate, their C1 certificate, and very happy about it, celebrating their own success, which motivates them to continue. So here's my B2. Finally, I got it. And now I'm going for the C1. Vamos por más. Fantastic. Sí se puede. Great. We celebrate our own success. We motivate ourselves to continue. That's optimism. That's resilience. Resilience because you can be crying inside, but you still have to show the nicest face that you can to your students online. And of course, a lot of patience, right? So that's the internal motivation. So far, we have seen the three elements of emotional intelligence that are related to the intrapersonal bit. Okay? And then there's empathy. Probably empathy is the most important, to me, the most important element. Because it's understanding the feelings and emotions of others. It's not doing what we wouldn't like other people to do us. And that's really important in life. Treat others the same way you would like to be treated. Practice acts of kindness. And there are three types of empathy. Three types. One is cognitive empathy. Yeah, I know what you think. I know what you're feeling. Yes, I understand it. But the emotional intelligence is the one that makes me feel what you're feeling. Like I said, I'm a friend of many teachers on Facebook. And I have seen people losing people over this pandemic. And I just have felt terrible about them. There are many teachers who I'm very close with, and I felt terrible about their situation because they still have to get up and continue. That's emotional empathy. Okay? And then the other one, very important, last but not least, is compassion. That's the type of empathy that allows me to do something for the people. To do, not only to feel what they're feeling, but to do something about it. Now, how can you integrate this? How can you integrate teaching with empathy? We are grammar-based teachers, especially in Latin America. We are grammar addicts, right? So it's common to hear that a teacher assigns a homework and asks the students to write 5 sentences in past tense using regular or irregular verbs. That's very common. Let's change it. Let's do something different. How about your homework is make lunch with mom or dad or both together if possible, and cook 2 extra dishes. Put them in a container, and after lunch or after, breakfast on a weekend, go out and share that with someone that needs it. That's compassion. That's compassion. And then on Monday, do not bring the sentences. I don't need to see it. I don't need you to send me your 5 sentences on WhatsApp. I don't need that. I want you to tell me, on Saturday, my family and I cooked together Then we went out and shared food with the homeless. You see? That's what we need to do, teachers. You don't need to study psychology for years to help your students develop empathy. And it's so important. If we helped our kids develop empathy online, at school, everywhere, all the time, we wouldn't have so many bullies at school. And that's really important. And you would be amazed by seeing the ideas that come from your kids when you start doing this. Let me give you an example. People that know me know that I love cooking. So once I decided to start cooking, not for me, for others. Since I enjoy it, then I cook for other people. And I go out with my family and we share food with those who need it, those who are hungry out there. And I took my kid with it because she lives in a reality that's pretty different from the real one out there. And when we started sharing food with people out there, she gave me a great idea. And she said, Dad, why don't we do this for stray dogs too? And we started feeding some dogs. Yeah, and we're working on family relations too. And we're working with, empathy, compassion. That's very, very important to do. So empathy is going to allow me, and you see, I'm taking on this slide, I'm taking 3 times as much as I took on the other ones, because to me, it's so important. Empathy will help you understand your students better. Yeah, not always. It's not that they don't do homework. Yeah, of course, with many exceptions, but it's not that they didn't do homework because they're just lazy. There might be something going on. Empathy will help us understand that. And of course, tell a lazy student from someone that really couldn't do something apart. That's also important. Now you might say, yeah, if you have, then you can give. And that's good compassion. Giving what you don't need, it could be good charity if you want, but it's also comparable to throwing away the garbage. Yeah? The real giving comes from my own necessity. The real giving means that we are not going to eat one whole chicken today in the family. We're going to eat half the chicken, the other half we're going to give away. We're going to cook for someone else. We're going to share our lunch with someone. That's the real giving, the one that comes from my own necessity. You don't need to be rich to give something, to feel compassion. Just, a coin, anyone can give to anyone. But the real giving is totally different. I have been invited by Miss Vicky Hara, who I hope is with us today in this meeting, to write a chapter of a book about empathy. It will be out this year, hopefully. We'll be sharing it soon. So think about that. Think about different ways for us to help our children develop empathy, and of course, all the other elements of emotional intelligence, because it's really, really important. And then we have social skills, manage relationships, build networks, to be, good at teamwork. And that has a lot to do with being persuasive. Yeah. Have you seen the kind of people that, they speak to you and they say something, and they convince you? Yeah. Positively speaking, that's good. Okay. They're good leaders. Sense of humor is very important, but it's not sense of humor itself. I'm talking about fun, which is not similar to funny. Yeah. So social skills, relations, how you relate, to other people. That's very important too. That's the other element, the fifth element of emotional intelligence, that has to do with the interpersonal intelligence. If you want to see it in a different way, here's a diagram that's going to help you. So, what you feel in yourself is self-awareness. What you feel in others is empathy. Yeah? What you do in yourself is self-regulation. What you do in others or with others, that's social skills. And that is all emotional intelligence. You see? So think about it, teachers. Think about it. Now let's talk about cell. I told you we're talking about cell. We're going to run out of time. I hope you can give me a few minutes if absolutely necessary. But yeah, I need to talk about cell. What is cell? Do you think you can tell me? Don't Google it. That's cheating. I'll have a sip of water. In the meantime, you can type in the chat what cell stands for. Can you please? Anyone? How can we encourage? Yeah, we have a little bit of time to talk about this later. But Adri is saying, how can we encourage our students to practice speaking skills? Practice speaking skills and at the same time have compassion. I just gave an example. Have them do something for someone and tell you about it. When feelings are involved in a conversation, English or Spanish or Chinese come out by themselves. I mean, it's not going to be easier, but kids will focus on the feeling. And they will forget about that big obstacle that is, am I speaking right? What if I say this? What's my teacher going to say if I say this or if I say that? Yeah, that's important. So, cell. What is cell? Cell is social and emotional learning. Okay? It has to be part of the curriculum. It should be part of the curriculum everywhere. Yeah, in all the schools. Okay? In Singapore, the government has made sure this is included. And it's more important than the subjects themselves. I'm not saying that the subjects are not important. They are. But combined with emotional intelligence, they're perfect. Yeah? And I'm saying this because Daniel Goleman, for example, says that, after 120 in your IQ test, after a score of 120, you are very intelligent. Fantastic. So you can have a good position in a big company. Fantastic. Yes. But once you are in that level, you will be competing with other people that are at the same level. And that's when emotional intelligence comes into play. So that is what really matters. So, social and emotional learning. It's a process that teaches life skills to students. And they can acquire and apply the necessary skills to understand and handle emotions. Very important. Understand and handle emotions. Reach goals. Goal setting, if you remember. Show empathy. Build and maintain relationships. And make responsible decisions. It has some elements. Self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationships, call it social skills if you want, decision-making. Wow, they're similar to the elements of emotional intelligence, right? Very important. Cell interventions, and according to research, this is not me telling you that, it's Durlach. Yeah, according to his research, cell interventions can be incorporated into routine educational practices and do not require outside personnel. It's not an investment for their effective delivery. And if applied, they can help reduce aggression and emotional distress among students, for example. Extremely important. They can increase helping behaviors in school. Empathy. They improve positive attitudes toward, self and others. Empathy, self-regulation, social skills. And they can increase academic performance by 11 percentile points. This is how important social and emotional learning is at school. But this is not something that happens a la segunda hora de clase. Ya me toca inteligencia emocional. No. This is something that has to be incorporated in the curriculum, into everyday life. That's what we need to do. Yeah? So, for example, here's an example. Yeah? The traffic light of emotions, let's call it. You can have your students do this. And not only children, you can do this with your teenagers if you want. Even adults need this to remember sometimes. Yeah? And they have to relate the colors of this traffic light, they have to relate it to 3 words. Red, stop. Yellow, think. Green, share. Okay? So when you're feeling something, stop. Think. You might want to ask your teacher, your parents, for a break. I've told my daughter, hey, do not speak and then think. Think and then speak. So if you need time to think, stop. You can tell me, Dad, I don't want to talk right now. Can we talk in a minute? Fantastic. And then, you can breathe in, breathe out, inhale, exhale, think about what's going on, and then share with someone. Ask someone what's going on. Share what you think. And we really need to have this, not only picture a traffic light in our heads, we need to share it. We need to have it. If I need to have it on my wall, then I'll have it. But you're an adult, yes. But we're always learning about emotions. Okay? Important. Then there's other activities. Reflective work. Yeah, it's very important that we give students a situation and that they reflect on that situation. Now, want to practice conditionals? Go ahead. What would you do if your best friend told you to break into a house and rob things? Yeah? So I would do this, I would do that if we like to practice grammar. Keep diaries. We're going to see an activity in a minute. Breathing exercises, how important are they? Really, really important. That's why mindfulness has become so famous now. Service projects. I really dream about seeing my daughter having to do a homework that's related to something, to servicing people. I really dream about that, and I hope this happens someday. And you can easily relate it to grammar, to vocabulary, to whatever you want. I'll show you some activities. Group discussion about, social justice issues. When we sit down with our students and we talk about social justice issues, we talk about different situations that they can, imagine and reflect on. We are practicing emotional intelligence, empathy, social awareness, different elements of intelligence. Collaborative work. Yeah, resolve conflict. 2 kids are fighting. Okay, I'm not going to solve it. Help me solve it. How would you do it? Okay. And of course, evaluating consequences for various behaviors or actions. Talk about issues, which I've talked about already. Okay, here's one example: expressive writing. This is not for beginners, of course, but if you have, kids in segundo bachillerato, tercero bachillerato, yeah, there's something in psychology about emotions. We need to know our emotions. We need to give them a shape. We need to identify them very well. How do we do it? By expressing what we feel. So can we speak with anyone about our emotions? No, because everyone, raise your hand if you have no secrets in your life. There's always something that's only ours and nobody knows or will ever know about. Yeah. Why? Because you don't want to be judged. You don't want to be observed. Yeah. You don't want to be looked down on. Yeah. So this expressive writing activity is very nice because it's like speaking but on writing. So you find a nice place and you can ask your students to do it. Find a nice place, and if you go back to normal soon, then you can have your students sit down outside in the yard with their notebook, yeah, or their cell phone if they want. Use it wisely and have them write continuously for 20 minutes. Yeah. Not worrying about grammar or spelling because, teacher, you will not see it. You will not read it or ever know about it. Yeah. You just want your kid to, your big kid, your teenager, to express himself. Yeah. He will write for himself or for herself about something that's extremely personal. Okay. Not many things. One or two probably, for 20 minutes, for 4 days in a row. Give them that 20 minutes. Yeah. Some students will give you a lot. Some students will give you less, but they will be expressing. If they give you just a little content, yeah, first you will never read it. Yeah. But from far away, you can make sure they're writing in English. Okay. If they don't give you that much content, they will at least be practicing some spelling. But they are dealing with their emotions. Remember, teenagers, they don't know who they are. They don't know where they're from. They don't know where they're going. So they need somebody to listen to them without judging. So the best way to do it is by writing it. And if you feel that you need to do it in Spanish first, go ahead and do it. You are talking about emotions. If you heal the emotions or help your student heal his or her emotions, first, he will never forget about you. Second, you will have done something great for somebody. Third, you can later switch to English if you want. Okay? But teaching is not only talking about simple present, simple past, and present perfect. There's a lot more to that, and you know that. Yeah? Give me a yes in the chat if you agree with what I'm saying. Let's see if I can get a yes in the chat if you agree with what I'm saying. Yeah? So, that's the activities expressive writing. If you want to do something later, look, here's an example. On my WhatsApp, I sent a message to myself. Yeah. And look, it's got a lot of typos because it was written by a student, right? I'm feeling good today, but usually I feel bad because I have had many problems with my girlfriend. I like her, but I think I am very young in this moment for a serious relation. She wants to present me her mother. Okay. And after the 4 days of writing, you can ask the student to write from a different point of view. Okay. So give them examples. If you wrote about your girlfriend or about your boyfriend, now write similar ideas from the other person's point of view. And you'll practice writing. Don't get desperate because you won't have the piece of paper to circle mistakes. Don't get desperate. You're still practicing. And you're working on someone's emotions. That's very important, right? Here's another one that's important to work, on emotions. Have on your wall, if you want, in your office, in your classroom, anywhere, you can have on a piece of colorful paper a memory that makes you smile. Yeah, a memory that makes you smile. For example, I remember my last trip when I took my kid to States. She was in Magic Kingdom. I just remember her smile and her happiness, and that makes me smile because she's the most important part of my life. The second, someone that makes you happy, and there she is, and there she is, as you can see her. I have her on my cell phone. I see her when I travel. I see her all the time, and I think about her. And even if I'm really stressed, I forget about whatever it is when I see her. Yeah. And on another piece of paper, a project. In my case, it's a new house. Right now, I'm buying a house, just waiting for the paperwork. Yeah. And I'm already going out window shopping and saying, I want this for my house. Do I have the money? It doesn't matter. You're building it here. Okay? So help your kids develop that. I'm not going to talk about the neurotransmitters that your brain produces when you smile, when you're happy, when you think about good things. I'm not going to talk about that. That's probably something different. Okay? But it's so good to change your mood like this. And it gets you ready to learn better. So do that. Do not be afraid. Do that with your kids. They might think you're crazy at the beginning, but this teacher that's always asking me to do grammar-based activities, she's now telling me something different. Try, and then you tell me. Yeah? And then they can have, chats. Yeah, here's the one about a trip. Okay? Don't you laugh at it because I took so much time to prepare this slide, to come up with a cell phone and with the text. Wow. Okay? And then, of course, something very nice is here. Look, Petit Bamboo, for example. This is 2 apps that are going to help you control yourself. Breathe. Okay? Take the stress away if you want. Look. Yeah? This is something that I want you to share. I hope the screen works. And are we seeing it right now? Hold on. Supposedly, I am sharing my screen in this moment. Give me a second. You should be seeing my screen right about now. Good. Okay. So look, this is Petit Bamboo. Free. Yeah? This is free. So look, you can see Meditación Libre, and you can build your own meditation. Look, this is beautiful. Duration 1 minute. I've already selected it. No? Gong to start. Then what kind of sounds? You can select. All of this you can select, no? Which one, for example, which gong sound do you want? This one, you choose. Okay? You select. Then you save it. You choose the sounds. You have a lot of sounds to choose from. Yeah? You have another gong right in the middle, and then the final gong. And then you start. I hope you're listening to it, but that's my meditation. And then the final gong. And then you start. I hope you're listening to it. There it is. But that's my meditation. I can't share it. Looks like I can't share it, but try. Here it is. Petit Bamboo. Okay? And you can meditate. But the good thing is that you can create your own meditation. So have your children do it. Have your students do it. Hey, are you feeling stressed? All right. Why don't you create your own meditation set? This is free. So go ahead and do it, right? So let me continue. I don't know where I was. Yeah, but I don't have that much time. And I'm about to finish. I promise I won't keep you here for that long. So let me continue. I'm seeing a lot of screens here, so I'm getting a little crazy. I don't know which one is going live right now, which one's mine, which one I'm sharing. But yeah, let's continue. So if we talk, and this is the final bit, if we talk about life skills, if we talk about the 21st century skills, let me tell you something new. Cambridge has developed the Cambridge Life Competencies Framework. Just like you have the Common European Framework, we have developed the Cambridge Life Competencies Framework. What is it? 21st century skills. Life competencies that include, attitudes and skills that we need to succeed in life. Yeah? And we can apply this to teaching. We have come up with some cards, and that's what I want to share with you. The framework of life competencies has like 6 elements, and among those is emotional development. Here you can see critical thinking, learning to learn, communication, okay? And, among the others is emotional development, for example. All right? So we have developed some cards that I'm going to show you a few examples of, okay? And they work with all the materials, with all the books that you're using. They're good for fast finishers if you want. Okay? They can give you an extra focus on a specific life competency, like critical thinking, creative thinking, collaborative work. Yeah. They can be a good inspiration for lesson planning. You can also use them as fillers, as warmers, as any introductory activity. Any. Okay? And I'm going to show you some examples. We have a set of cards. They are the life competencies activity cards that we developed. We have them for young learners. We have them for teenagers. We have them for adults. I'm going to show you just 2 examples of them, of each of them. We have hundreds, teachers. Hundreds. Yeah? So look, for young learners, for example, look at this one. Yeah? It tells you here, left, emotional development. Which element of emotional development are we checking here? Managing own emotions. So regulating emotions. Look, the feeling better chart. Using this chart, ask the class to write down what can make people feel better when they feel these emotions. At the end of each session, ask learners how they felt during the lesson, whether they experienced any of the emotions on the chart, and what actions they took to make themselves feel better. So if you feel embarrassed, for example, yeah, hold a soft toy, sit with a friend, move to another place in the classroom. And if that's not enough, then if you see at the bottom of the card, it says, are you teaching online? So the idea is that you keep a digital copy of the Feeling Better chart to share with your learners on a regular basis. Or send a copy to the learners to have them referred to at home. Yeah? The best way to get to know our emotions is to express what we're feeling. Yeah, and that's very important. That's one of the cards. Let me share another one with you. Yeah, it's also about emotional development. This one is about empathy and relationship skills. And it says, showing empathy for the feelings of others. How do you feel? How do they feel? After learners, listen to that. After learners have listened to an audio recording, read a text after learners have listened to an audio recording, read a text, or watched the video, ask them to think about the characters in the text and ask the following questions. How do you think they feel? How do you think this person feels? How do you think that person feels? Are they angry? Are they embarrassed? Maybe. Why do you think they feel like this? And what might make them feel differently? But are you teaching online? All right. So at the bottom is an idea for you to do the same, but online. Okay? Now, the activity cards, Cambridge Life Competencies activity cards for teenage learners. Look, here's one. I only choose the ones for emotional development. Remember, we have cards for critical thinking. We have cards for creative thinking, for collaborative work, for social skills, for many elements of the framework. So here, managing own emotions. What emotions? When learners encounter a set of sentences in the course book, for example, grammar practice, ask them to discuss the following questions. What emotions do you associate with this situation? So, present continuous. Gina is taking a shower with cold water. How do you think she feels now? Cold. Okay, that's not really an emotion, but how do you think she feels? Okay. How might this situation make you feel? How do you think you would feel if you were taking a shower with cold water right now? Again, are you teaching online? There's the idea. Okay. Another one for teenagers. Look, regulating emotions. My hurdles. At the beginning of a course book unit, ask learners to flick through the pages of the unit. So you're going to start a unit. Students take the book and they flick through the unit, right? They check. Even before you introduce it, before you teach, before you do anything. Okay? So, and ask them, what do you think you'll find challenging? And they have to identify the hurdles in the learning. What are the challenges they'll need to overcome? They can even draw, like you have the example on the right. They can draw the hurdles and identify them if they want. And then at the end of the lesson, you can ask them which of their hurdles they managed to overcome. Remember, we're working on emotional development. Okay? If you're teaching online, you have the idea. Bottom right, it says teen because it's for teenagers. Then there's for adults. And with this one, I'll finish. For adults, for example, poker face. I love this one. This is new. I was checking it the other day, and they're beautiful. Recognizing and describing emotions. So when you have a group of adults, young adults if you want, okay, explain the concept of poker face. What's a poker face? It's something like, no, I always look angry, but no, poker face. You know what it is, like the Mona Lisa, right? Showing no emotion to learners. Before learners carry out a group speaking task, explain that half of the group will complete the task with a poker face. So they'll be like, great, I also like to do this. It's very nice to do this. Okay, or something like that. While the other half should express and exaggerate a range of emotions during the task. Once groups have completed the task, repeat so learners can swap roles. Finally, ask members to reflect on the task by discussing what context it might or might not be appropriate to express emotions and to what degree. You see? This, if you want to work on emotional development. If you want to work on critical thinking, then you can choose the critical thinking cards. There's hundreds, remember. So stay tuned because we'll be sharing them with you. So regulating emotions, stress triggers. when learners encounter situations in a course book text, like someone complaining in a restaurant or someone going shopping, there are different situations to learn English. Ask them to consider the following questions. What elements of this situation might cause stress? And what strategies could the characters use to help manage this? Okay? And if you're teaching online, of course, there's an idea at the bottom. Right? So I would say what I said at the beginning to finish this little time with you, sharing some experiences and some ideas. We don't need to be psychologists to work on emotional intelligence in the classroom. All we need to do is just relate everything we do to real life contexts. That will help our students avoid many situations now. We have people with problems with banks, with credit cards, because they don't know how to manage their finances. We have people fighting and saying terrible things to other people because they cannot control their emotions. We have people out there that don't care about others. We have people looking down on foreigners because they come to my country to take away my job. We have people out there that just don't care. And they are a product of teaching mathematics, history, geography, science at school. It's probably time for us to start seeing the product of teaching emotional intelligence in the class. And it's in our hands. We are the ones that can do it. We don't need permission to do that. We don't need permission to start a change. Now, the 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step. It's in our hands. It's in our hands, really. So yeah, that's all. That's all I can say. I really loved this time with you. Very happy to have shared a few ideas, and I hope we can do this again with some other topics related to this, related to learning and teaching. Thank you very much for your time. I don't know if there's anything, any question, any comments. I'll be more than glad to answer your questions.
Muchísimas gracias, mi querido Juan Carlos. Ha sido, yo creo, por todos los comentarios que logro identificar, ha sido muy, muy, muy interesante esta noche para todos los docentes de diferentes universidades que nos acompañan y están muy agradecidos. Todos tienen comentarios muy excelentes para usted. No sé si es que adicional a ello, en inglés o en español, como usted guste, desea expresarles algunas palabras más para ya dar el cierre a este evento esta noche. Y nada, poder agradecerles también a todos quienes nos han acompañado vía redes sociales, tanto en Facebook como en YouTube. Mi querido Juan Carlos, por favor, sus pequeñas palabras de despedida.
Okay, thank you very much to everybody. Just one little thing that I want to say. I've been seeing a question on the screen like for a lot of time. It says, I have a question. How can I keep myself motivated? Because when you first start something, you go with motivation. But how can I keep that same energy all my journey through it? That's a very important question to keep motivated. What you need to do is do something, celebrate it, and feel that happiness inside. That's what you need to do. If you can compare this to going to the gym, for example, many people get discouraged halfway through and they leave it because they don't see muscles right the next day. But start seeing the positive things. Yeah, there are many things that you can see positively and celebrate them. Your brain will do the rest. Don't let them discourage you. If you think that language school is what you want to have, go ahead. All you need is one student to start. And then go ahead. Don't let them tell you you can't do it. Celebrate every single detail in your life. And like I said, your brain will do the rest. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks, everybody. I think we need a second part.
Muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias, mi querido Juan Carlos, a todas las personas que se integraron con nosotros. Estamos pasando también un link tanto por el chat de Facebook como de YouTube, para que por favor ustedes se puedan registrar. No se olvide de registrarle, dele tan solo un clic y regístrese. También les invito a todos quienes nos han acompañado a seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales como Universidad Indoamérica. Nos encuentran en Instagram, Facebook, Twitter y también YouTube, donde usted va a poder poner un like y también va a poder reprisar esta conferencia del día de hoy con nuestro querido Juan Carlos. Yo, sin más, les agradezco muchísimo a todos ustedes por habernos acompañado y por tener una audiencia de primera calidad. Estamos muy agradecidos con ustedes porque apoyan en todo momento todas las actividades que realiza la Universidad Indoamérica y también las actividades que realiza el departamento de idiomas. En este sentido, sin más, les acompañó esta noche Lorena Vilés. Que tengan ustedes una linda noche y muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos. Que descansen.
Hoy necesitamos cambiar el mundo, en la adversidad como en la alegría, en el triunfo como en la derrota, en el día y en la noche. Todos somos parte cuando naces y cuando mueres, cerca o lejos, hoy y mañana. Todos somos parte. Queremos que seas parte de un reto, que se enfrenten a los obstáculos, que desafíen el momento, que cambien el mundo, que comuniquen, que eduquen, que formen, que informen y transformen, que recorran, que vuelen, que muevan y que suenen, que fotografíen, que miren, que planifiquen y caminen, que creen, que cuenten, que animen y que sueñen. Porque desde mañana ya nada será igual. Necesitamos que diseñen el cambio. Necesitamos hombres y mujeres que imaginen un mundo del que todos y todas somos parte. Universidad Indoamérica.